So on today's latest review, we're going to take a look at the Vivoactive 3 from Garmin and the Forerunner 235 from Garmin as well. Basically going to pit a lifestyle sort of active watch versus a pure runner's watch. Which one is best for you as the consumer, and which one has the best perks and attributes that the other one does not, and which one is just better overall. Let's get into it. Now, I personally do not own the Garmin Vivoactive 3, but a dear friend of mine let me basically review it for her, and she basically filled out a template that I gave her. So these answers are all from her because she wears the Vivoactive 3 every single day, whereas I wear the Garmin Forerunner 235 every single day and have worn it for the past 4 to 5 days or so, and at that point I think I can make a solid review. What both watches offer you is, obviously multi-activity tracking. It tracks your heart rate, how many steps you've taken, calories burned, just so many assortment of health figures that you would basically want to have tracked. But both watches are made by Garmin, which is a super famous company, basically known only for their GPS technology, which is some of the best in the world. So obviously their GPS technology in the watches is going to be superb and tracks really, really well. Now, both my friend and I found that the battery life for both of these devices is still pretty good, although the Forerunner 235 does give you about 5 days of battery, whereas the Vivoactive 3 only gives you about a day and... Really? Whereas the Vivoactive 3 is more like a smartwatch. It only gives you about 1 to 2 days, maybe 3 tops, minimal usage type of thing. But if you're actually using the watch to its full capacity and actually using the applications and changing stuff and going through the settings and going for runs and using the GPS, then obviously your battery time will be less. But the one thing that I prefer over the Vivoactive 3 is that the Forerunner 235 is not touchscreen. Now, a lot of you guys might be thinking, why is it better? Why are analog buttons better than a touchscreen? Because for someone like me, I go for runs, or have been going for runs more often now, it's easier to basically go through the settings with buttons, physical buttons, than with a touchscreen. And the reason for that is because when you're sweating and your fingers are all wet and you're just trying to navigate the menus, does become kind of hazardous trying to navigate a touchscreen menu when obviously on a tiny watch like that, the capacitive touchscreen is not going to be as good as, say, an Apple Watch or an iPhone, because obviously it's less quality being put into the face. So if you have buttons, physical buttons, it's easier to press, it's easier to navigate, it's easier to go through the menus and basically configure a run or activity or stopping and checking out your settings and stuff like that. That is just easier with physical buttons. As for the app, I really have to say that out of going through a bunch of fitness apps in the past, I went through a Livestrong one or something like that, a Nike Running Club, and that one's actually pretty good. The Nike Running Club one's actually pretty good. The Garmin Connect app is probably the best and most intuitive user interface that I've used ever for any sort of fitness app, training, anything like that. Even the app, it syncs with Apple Health, and I'm pretty sure it also syncs with Android Health or whatever that affiliate is. Now, as for weight and design, the Vivoactive 3 definitely comes in ahead because the Vivoactive 3 does have parts of metal and tougher plastic built on it, whereas the Vivoactive 3 is built mainly of plastic and more plastic, and then obviously the band is made of silicone, but both bands are made of silicone. But the Vivoactive 3 wins in the materials department because the Vivoactive 3 has a metal band and overall just has a more solid device feel. Also, the heart rate monitor on the Vivoactive 3 does not protrude from the device as where the 235 it does, which actually causes skin irritation on my wrists, and I'm not sure if it does on anybody else's. But if you have a Forerunner 235, you will get some skin irritation at the beginning just because of the fact that it protrudes a little bit kind of from the bottom of the watch. Now, the Apple Watch does the same thing, but I think the Apple Watch does it better because the Apple Watch is more of a curved design, so it's kind of more natural to your skin, whereas the 235 is kind of like this little block that protrudes from the bottom of it, which can cause a little bit of skin irritation. But if you're wearing both watches, you will not feel them on your wrist. I barely feel mine. The only time I ever feel mine is when I, scratch it a little bit, if there is a little bit of irritation, but honestly, it's not even that big of a deal. Now the one thing that I really like about Garmin watches, maybe it's just Garmin watches that I've seen, but Apple Watch has now just jumped on the scene, is that GPS technology is the superior technology to just a plain built-in accelerometer, because I've used products such as the Fitbit and the Nike Fuel Band, which both had built-in accelerometers, which is fine if you're trying to get motivated to do fitness, you know, just like average stuff like that. But if you're actually trying to know the information and get a more in-depth see as to what you're doing and how much fitness you are getting and receiving per day, basically the Garmin is what you're gonna want, and the Fitbit is not what you're gonna want. And I would say that the steps are also quite accurate, although sometimes I'll be sitting there and I'll move my wrist and it will say that there was 5 steps. And then kind of like later in the day, I'll take like 12 steps and it will say like nothing. So I think in the end, it kind of balances itself out. At the end of the day, you will have a more than believable accurate reading, if that makes any sense. But what sets the Garmin aside from the Apple Watch and aside from all these devices is just how cheap these devices are, because the Apple Watch comes in at a whopping like $700, $800, whereas the Garmin comes in at like $300. So if you're trying to find a watch that tracks your fitness, you will definitely want the Garmin Vivoactive 3, or if you're kind of trying to go on like a little bit of a budget, go for the Forerunner 235. I'm telling you right now, if you're on a budget, the Forerunner is what you're gonna want, but the Vivoactive 3 is the better all around, although I don't really know how accurate both heart rate monitors are, but I feel like the Forerunner has a slightly more accurate one just because it does dig into your dang skin, and if I'm not getting accurate ratings for that, then I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to basically buy these products or look at the products, I will leave the description in the down... Oh my gosh. If you guys want to check out these products, I will leave the links for the products in the description down below. If you guys wanted to subscribe, please hit that button down below or up here or something like that. I'm going to leave the button somewhere for you guys to hit. Please hit the bell next to it so you can receive notifications so when I upload a new video, which happens like maybe once every week or once every 2 weeks or once every 1.5 weeks. It's kind of hard being a senior in high school and having all these plans and also having a YouTube channel and reputation. So if you guys want to subscribe and do all that type of stuff, I thank you and bless up, you know, you guys are amazing. I'm trying to get 300, so we're gonna push 300, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video a lot, so you guys can subscribe. So I'll stop rambling. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.